Welcome back to the UR Immeasurable podcast, season 3. This season is going to be dedicated to those of us that are on our journey of healing and transformation. The focus of this season is going to be to identify and recognize healthy and unhealthy relationship dynamics. We're going to talk a lot about the spiritual tools that we'll need to become acquainted with to help us to stand, to operate in, and to flourish as our authentic self. Things like shadow work, energy healing, which will help us to shred or shed the guilt, the shame that we've been carrying, and also to do some much needed subconscious reprogramming. Now, as always, the episodes are going to air weekly, and the purpose of them is to support you as you embrace and become acquainted with your enlightened and untethered higher self. So I want you to grab your water, your juice, your wine, or your tea or your coffee, and let's toast to each other and our growth, our elevation, and abundance. Welcome back to the UR Immeasurable podcast. Today, I have Sophie Zollman, who is amazing. She is the owner and CEO of Sophie Zollman Next Level Business Support. She is also a best-selling author and speaker, and probably a couple other things that I'm going to let her tell you about. Sophie, I just want to say thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me, joining my space. And I'd like you to introduce yourself to everyone.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm very excited and happy to be here. This is going to be so much fun. As you said, I am Sophie Zollman. I am the owner and CEO of Sophie Zollman Next Level Business Support. I am an 80s pop, Stevie Nicks, witchy woman, Harry Potter nerd, poker player, and digital marketing expert, best-selling author, and speaker. And we are a full-service digital marketing team that takes the guesswork and frustration out of your digital marketing to provide actionable, repeatable, measurable results.
Now that right there, if anybody that's an entrepreneur that has the blocks that I have when it comes to marketing, like literally you say marketing and my brain just dies, goes to sleep and goes and hides. So the fact that you've got all of these elements, including, who doesn't love Harry Potter? You know what I mean? There are so many of us that are into the witchy woo and all of that just culminating in one agency, in a one-stop shop. That is just amazing to me.
Well, thank you. Thank you. We truly believe in being who we are, showing up authentically and genuinely. And, I am who I am, and I love working with all kinds of people, and, I accept them as they are. And, it's a two-way street. And, the more you get along with people, so to speak, and the more you connect on a deeper level than just who you are and than just what you do, the better it's going to be, because you're building a relationship together, you're partnering together, you're building a bond that goes beyond just being the digital marketer for somebody, the digital marketing expert, whatever the case may be. It goes deeper, and it means more to everybody involved when you approach it from that kind of perspective.
I would definitely agree. And for myself, marketing was, like I said, early on, and even probably until before the last few months, when I've really started to, stop saying that it kills your brain, because if you keep saying it, then it's going to keep killing it and you're never going to get anywhere. But I have also found that when I'm talking to people or working with people, especially those that are spiritual entrepreneurs, it's very difficult for them to be able to find that sweet spot. And I like that you bring up, I am who I am, and that is part of what I do. and even when it comes to, other people. And I find that for many of the business owners and the people that I talk to or work with, because they are witchy, they are woo, they are mystical. And so it's kind of difficult to put your finger on how you want to say it and how you want to explain it, and even how you want to present it when it comes to like your brand and things like that. Is that a lot of like how your people come to you? Like, Sophie, I don't know what the hell's going on, and I don't know what to do. Just help me.
Absolutely. I call it throwing spaghetti against the wall to see what sticks, because they're doing whatever they see other people doing, whatever they think they can do. They're making it up as they go along. And when it comes to today's level of digital marketing, you have to have a well thought out and well researched data-based marketing strategy and the marketing plan that goes with it every single month, month after month. You can't just throw spaghetti against the wall to see what sticks and hope something works. Because guess what? If something happens to work, you have no clue what it was. So you have no way to maximize it, repeat it. You just continue to throw the spaghetti because you never figured out what worked that one time or maybe 5 times. And one of the other things that works well for me and the woo clients is I am also woo and I am also a Virgo. That means I am analytical, practical, detail oriented, process oriented, step by step, map it out, planning kind of girl. And my woo friends, my woo clients don't want to do that. They want someone to do it for them, and someone who gets them as the woo that they are. So a couple of years ago, I was in a mastermind, and one of the things that came out of it was a phrase, and they even made it a hashtag, was we work well with the woo woo. And it was hashtag 6W. And it's true. We do work well with the woo woo. My team, though many of them are not woo woo, they get it too. They've been around me enough. We've worked with enough spiritually based entrepreneurs and business owners for them to get it and to be able to bring it to the brand, to bring it to the copywriting, because we do our homework. Yes, AI is a thing. AI is not a bad thing. AI needs to be used in small doses, and it needs to be used appropriately. When it comes to truly developing a marketing strategy and a marketing plan that you're going to implement each month to show your know, like, and trust factor, to show your expertise, to do lead generation and sales, it's got to be in your voice, your tone, your brand. It's got to be woo. And it can't be generic. And so far, I have not come across an AI tool that they're very good. They come close. But when it comes down to having the copy absolutely nailed, a human being writing it, such as my copywriter and the other writers on my team, it turns out way better because we do it. We incorporate AI on a level of getting topics, doing the research and things like that. But when it comes to writing like our clients, it's human based. And it's because that's what it takes, especially with the spiritually based entrepreneur, to get it right.
Yeah, because you have to actually be able to put the feeling into it. So yeah, definitely I can see how that it would be better with an actual human that gets it and writes it. And honestly, I feel like most people, even if they don't, claim it or say they subscribe to it, the way that you hear all of these things about being aligned, manifestation, naming it and claiming it, speaking it speaking it into existence, even if you don't say you're woo, you kind of are. Just because, again, all of these things, yeah, in some instances, they've just been made popular because certain people said them. But still, it's all in that same vein, going deeper within and then letting that be what you show on the outside. So I can get that when you say that it's better to have an actual human person writing your copy instead of a computer.
Yes. And, and for some people, I've worked with different kinds of copywriters, copy editors over the years, and some people would rather write it from scratch or, close to it than edit something that was created robotically. And by that, I don't just mean AI. I even mean people can record their voice. They can record something. Like I've had clients do this. They'll record kind of what they want to say, but it's more of a brain dump. It's not really exactly what they want to say in a blog post or this or that. And we take that recording and we drop it into an AI transcription tool, and taking that and trying to revise that into a really well fleshed out document or blog post or whatever can be twice as hard as giving us, a list of a topic and a list of points you want covered in that, whatever that is, for us to do our homework, to do a little research with AI and whatnot. But, a lot of times what my copywriter will do, she'll take that transcript, even if it's well transcribed, and use it as notes instead of trying to revise it into something. She will read through it so that she gets the gist of the points they want to get across, and then she will go write it. And that is fantastic. And that's how AI can play into all of this. Those are the different ways. It's not bad. It's not wrong. And it's not that you should not use AI, but there is definitely the balance between the AI and the human, and how the human who is working with the AI works best. That's the other thing, is we always work what is best for us and our team and our clients, because that is the way to get the best result, is doing what works for us so that we can do it effectively and efficiently, and therefore repeatedly. Because if we're just winging it every time we go along, again, throwing spaghetti against the wall.
Yeah. Yeah. And double working, overworking, and all of those things. Yeah. And I definitely know about the AI transcription, because one of the softwares that I use for the podcast, you grab the transcription, to put it with the videos or whatever. And sometimes just depending on who it is that's speaking, the way you pronounce certain words and things like that, it'll have a whole different it's like, wait a minute, I didn't say that. What's going on? So if you're doing that and then you're just copying and pasting, then I can see how that could blow something up and you'd be like, whoa, wait a minute, that ain't right. So how do you, and I know you said that, because you're into all of these things and it helps you to understand people, but how does it also help you with like leading and showing them the way and guiding them, especially if someone says, okay, well, I think that I want to do A, B, and C, but that for their particular business, for their personality and the way that, that you in tune that they do things, you're like, no, we need to do this over here.
Well, a lot of times especially with creatives, visionaries, and the spiritually based entrepreneur, they get shiny object syndrome worse than most any other client I've worked with. And that's where the Virgo in me goes, because they will go off on, and again, they're still, and they don't even see that is the same thing as throwing spaghetti against the wall, because they start with one idea and get halfway through and go, no, I want to do this now. And they get halfway through that one. And even if it's an offer, 3 different offers, like I want to sell this and I want to sell this and I want to sell that. And I'm like, okay, perfect. Which one do you want to do first to completion, including testing, to see if it's going to sell? I'm like, well, I want to do all of them. Nope.
Yeah. You all in my business now. You all in my business.
It's like, no, can you do 100%
new ideas every other day?
Excellent work focusing on 3 different things? Multitasking it is a thing, but it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
They have proven multitasking doesn't work effectively or efficiently.
Right. You might be able to complete a task as you know, especially if it's something like, okay, fold the towels or, something like that. But yeah, but what you're talking about or what we're trying to do, yeah, trying to do a bunch of them at once, it will make you crazy and have you very confused.
Well, and
And
the
then,
other
yeah,
thing,
like you said,
yes, and it has your audience confused.
right.
A confused buyer doesn't buy. A confused buyer walks
Absolutely.
away and goes and finds the person who knows what they're selling and what they're doing and what they're offering and goes, oh, that solves my problem. I'll buy that. Not, oh, I have three choices of what solves my problem, maybe. No, it's, it's the one and done kind of a thing. Not that you can't have multiple offers, but you can't try to create three different offers at the same time and advertise them at the same time and market them at the same time, because people want a solution to their problem, and they want to be told, so to speak, what that
Yeah.
solution is, how you solve their problem, and in this one thing. They don't want to go, oh, so which one of these do I need to solve my problem? Because it looks like they solve my problem, but maybe in three different ways. Well, which way, what? And they walk away.
Right. So then, because they have to decide, okay, which one of these is the most important to me and all of that, but they might all be equally important. So now, yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
a confused buyer doesn't buy. And when you offer more than one thing at a time, they get confused and they get overwhelmed. They get into that state of mind. You've lost them. And, you've got to know who your audience is to be able to create the right offers. And a lot of times they're like, oh, I just work with anybody. No, that's not how this works.
So you don't work with anybody.
Yeah. Like if you work with everybody, you don't work with anybody, because again, you're trying to create things that appeal to everybody.
And that's never going to happen.
No, you've got to decide who you want to work with. One of the main things we do is a deep dive marketing analysis that produces a custom marketing strategy that then gets broken out into a monthly marketing plan that will sustain that strategy. And that strategy has goals and objectives and all the things that it needs for us to create marketing initiatives that are going to be measurable, to know what works and doesn't work, so that based on that, we can maximize what works, we can get rid of what doesn't, or fix it if it can be fixed, those kinds of things, because that's what it takes in the marketing world today, is to know it is a combination of data and who you are, showing up authentically, being the know, like, trust person, the expert, all those things. And that requires a comprehensive knowledge of what you do, what you offer, who your ideal client or clients are, because many people do have multiple avatars. I can say that. In that respect, I can agree with someone saying I work with, not with everybody, but I work with three kinds of people. Okay. We can work with that, because once you dive into those three kinds of people and really dial in those avatars for each kind of person they are, then that's where everything flows from there. The content you produce, the messaging, the branding, all of the things, and the offers. Because if you don't know who you serve, you can't message yourself, brand yourself, and create offers that are going to sell. And you've got to know them beyond, the demographics. It goes so much deeper these days. It's the demographics, the psychographics. It is where they hang out. I mean, if you're marketing to people on Facebook and your ideal client isn't there,
It's not going to go.
It's going to fail.
Yeah.
You've got to know so many details about who you serve and who you want to serve and all of those things. And part of the strategy includes that. It includes a competitive analysis that shows who your competitors are, how you stand up to them. And we take it one step further and we show you how you can win, how you can stop being the best kept secret in your industry and actually stand out and show who you are and what you do and get the people in the door.
Yeah. I think that it is important to have an agency such as yours do that, especially I'll say for people like me, because I have analysis paralysis is real for me because I'll be down the rabbit hole and maybe, because hell, we're in a very digital age. So yeah, you just type in something in a search and you'll have all kind of foolishness. And not being a marketing expert, I don't really know what part I need, what I don't need, what's irrelevant, what's outdated. And so, I'm like, okay, I need to do all of this or none of this or some of this. And by the time I'm through all of that, okay, I'm confused. My head hurts and I don't want to do none of it.
Right. Exactly. That is the other thing for the entrepreneur, the business owner, is there are so many options out there and so many things they can do. And that's why they end up throwing the spaghetti against the walls, because it's like, well, it might work. So, I'm going to do it. And they don't have a purpose behind it, a goal, an objective, anything measurable. And they're not speaking directly to their ideal clients and all of those things that we've talked about. And digital marketing is going to only get bigger with more options, because it's kind of like the .com boom, although I don't think it's going to bust like the .coms did, because digital marketing is here to stay unless we stop using computers and phones and iPads, which that's not going to happen.
No.
We're going to become more dependent on them for what we need. Along with, there are certain, people who are in TV and radio and media ads, billboards, whatever the case may be, are still relevant too. And though some of that's not digital, TV is, but a billboard's not a digital. Well, actually, billboards nowadays are becoming digital.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They're digital now.
It's everywhere, and everybody is finding new ways and new places to put themselves. But you don't need to be everywhere. If you are everywhere, you will be exhausted. You will be unsuccessful. And your marketing, even if you have a couple of people helping you out, they're going to be exhausted because they're trying to keep up with everything you're trying to do that isn't working. And it's just one vicious cycle of,
yeah, definitely. Vicious cycle of, I like that, because sometimes I've been there. I felt that. And it's like, you know what? No, I don't want to do none of it. And it can become very, I don't want to say depressing, but in a way, make you feel like, okay, maybe I'm not supposed to be doing this, or maybe this isn't meant for me. And it's simply just because, hey, you haven't tapped into the right resource to be able to help you with that.
Yes, exactly. And startups are kind of relegated to doing it themselves because they are a startup. And even people who are going, so to speak, but just, they've got a client or two, they're making some money, but they all go like, oh, but I can't afford that. In some cases, that is correct. And they should stay solo in that position until they generate the revenue. But they also have to remember that what they're doing when they're delegating these things that drive them nuts, aren't working, and are keeping them from the things that make the money, that bring in the clients, that generate the revenue, it is a bottomless pit of
dazed and confused. I call it dazed and confused
because they know they got to do it themselves, but then they don't know what they're doing. And, some of them try to educate themselves, which is great. You should educate yourself. But then they get in and they go, oh my God, I don't know how this technology works. I don't know what to do with this. And it makes it harder. It makes more work, and it means less time focusing on the revenue generation, the lead generation that they can do as a solo person. Quite frankly, a lot of solo people are and probably should be doing a lot more grassroots kind of marketing, because they have the time and space for that. They have the ability to do that because that's a human connection thing. Yeah. And everybody can do the human connection thing and the conversation thing. But in the social media and the newsletters and all those things, that's where it gets lost and where it gets overwhelming. You've got to grow yourself by yourself to a certain point. But once you get to that point, you've got to invest in yourself and your business by hiring experts to do the work, because especially the experts who love what they do, because that is another thing that a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners, they're doing it themselves and they hate doing it. I've had so many, I hate social media, and I'm like, I can tell, because your social posts, you can tell. They're putting minimal effort into it because they hate it, and it shows through in what's coming out, and it's not working partly because of that. And there's a difference between an expense and an investment, because an investment is going to have a return.
Right.
Now, it may take time to have a return, but in the end, if it's working and you have the strategy and you have the data to show what works and what doesn't and can maximize it and make it work repeatedly and sustainably, it becomes this wonderful thing that has a massive return, and the revenue it generates, the freedom it generates, and the ability for the business owner to do what they are truly passionate about. And just that becomes the heaven on earth for them.
Right. And it's that, what do they say? It pays for itself.
It does. It really does. And it becomes profitable in time as well. It becomes so profitable that the expense it's negligible. Even if you go back to the expense mindset, your investment is paying off, bringing you revenue, bringing you peace, bringing you freedom, bringing you the things that the whole reason you started your business for in the first place.
Yeah, I am learning that. I have definitely always had I need to invest in myself in order to get where I want to go. And then it becomes, like you said, with a startup, you have to figure out, okay, where do I need to invest first?
Yes, exactly.
And so, yeah, my thing was initially, okay, I need to invest in myself as far as learning how to be a business owner, a CEO, the things that I absolutely have to do as far as getting, who is my ideal client avatar and all of those things, which I think it was harder than Chinese in the beginning, because I was like, wait a minute, what do you mean? Because until you're in that lane, it's not even something that you think about. And so understanding all of those things and all of the pieces that go into it, like you were just talking about, is something that I needed to learn. And then when it came to, okay, well, this is how you need to market yourself, and this is how you do this, and this is how you do that. Hold the hell on. Wait a minute.
Right. Yeah. And, initially there's things you can do that work and you can make it work to get the ball rolling. But once that ball is rolling, you've got to get it in a path straight ahead, not all over the place,
Yeah. And I'm always all over the place. So yeah, I need somebody to reel my behind in, because it's like, no, you can't do 30 things at a time, Tanisha. Well, why not? See, I'm one of those people. Well, why not? Because every time I have an idea, and once I start on that idea, now I've got 35 more ideas that go with that idea or spear off of that idea. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna need you to sit down.
Yep.
And like somebody told me, or you're gonna kill yourself.
Yeah, I mean, and you just feel so scattered and unfocused, and it's stressful. It's overwhelming. And it's just like, why would you want to be in that state all the time? That's not why you started your business. That's not why you're trying to get out of a job into a business. If it's a side hustle or a hobby, that's fine. But it's going to stay that way unless you put great focus on it and do the things that you can do to get you to the point where then now you can start hiring people and investing in the business, investing in things so that, we can make this work.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know that anyone that is all over the place, like me, or somebody that is struggling with trying to figure out this marketing thing, is listening like, okay, I see all the links in the show notes, but how do I work with Sophie?
So to work with Sophie, you can check out where I live, so to speak. My website, sophiezo.com, social media, meaning Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, or X. I'm sorry. I've been on Twitter so long. It's really hard for me to call it X, but X. And I am on Instagram as well. And I do have a YouTube channel, and I just, starting tomorrow, as a matter of fact, I'm not sure when this is coming out, so I'll say Tuesday, September 17th, I have relaunched my podcast of my own doing, revamped it to fit this digital marketing expertise that we have claimed as our thing. And I've moved it to a new platform, the Word of Mom Media Network. And so I'm excited that you can find me there and learn more too. We have a new freebie coming out. It's in the works. So that's where the website comes in handy. Stay tuned because that's going to be launching very soon as well, so that you can really grasp who we are and what we do. It starts with the website. It starts with the social media, because we have already made those into who we are and what we are now. And, including, who I am, the leather boots, the leather jackets, the witchy woo woo, Stevie Nicks, all of it's there. So that's where you can check us out. And I do offer a free 30-minute digital success session. That is all over the website as well. Click a button and book a call. I'm happy to get to know you, your business, where you are, where you want to go, and see how we can support you.
I love that. I love that. What's the podcast called? I don't think you said that.
Oh, it's called Building Your Empire with Sophie Zoe.
Okay. I'm going to be looking for that.
You'll find the first 176 episodes on the normal platforms, Apple, all those things. But if you go to wordofmomradio.com, that's where you can find me in the new episodes starting at 177 that begins on September 17th.
I'm writing it down.
Okay.
So I got it. Yes. I will definitely be looking you up and checking that out, because I need all the help I can get over here.
I'm happy to be here and be able to help y'all for sure.
Yes, because everything that you're saying, it makes so much sense. And like I said, for spiritual entrepreneurs, energy healers, all of that, you have to have a team that is in that space, or at least fully understands that space in order to get to where you're trying to go.
Absolutely. And I have many colleagues in the online business world, whether they be digital marketers, business managers, virtual assistants, etc., who create their ideal client avatars. And many of them are like, no woo, please. No. And that's fine, because they don't get it. They can't work with it. And that's okay, because we all have our ideal client
all over the place.
And so, like I said, we work well with the woo-woo. So, you can definitely come check us out, and we can most likely get into your business and help you out with digital marketing and, any number of things that we can potentially help you with, because we do have such a varied expertise on our team. There's so much to us, including but the digital marketing is our thing, our jam, our favorite thing to do. But we have many other skill sets on the team too.
Okay. That sounds amazing. So thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me today. I appreciate all of your knowledge and your wisdom. And I'm definitely going to be checking you guys out, because I need help.
Awesome. That sounds good.
I got somewhere to go. I need somebody to bring me.
I'm happy and honored to be here, and thank you for having me. And everybody, I look forward to hearing from the listeners if they need anything. I'm excited to get to know them.
Thank you for joining me for this episode of the UR Immeasurable podcast. Please remember to subscribe so that you can be notified whenever new episodes are dropped. Also, I'd love to have your feedback and your comments, as well as your 5-star rating. Additionally, if you'd like to connect with me, the show notes list all of my social media handles so that you can do so. So until next time, thank you so much, and cheers to your transformation.